y'all. What's going on? We here for another sitting. I want to praise the name of Yahuah, Yahusha, Hamashiach, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh. And we here for another sitting, another teaching. Today, the title of this teaching is The Words of Yahuah, the Lord, right? First, I want to say welcome to anybody who is watching, who's new to at least this channel, or you just started watching, you just clicked on this. I want to encourage you to watch the full video. It's going to be awesome. We're going to bring out some nuggets, some things that you might have not seen. If you haven't read the scriptures front to back, and you always you find scriptures to be appealing to you. You want to hear them. When you hear them, there's something about them that just resonate with you, that you say, man, that just tasted so good. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I want to say welcome to you. I want to say grab some popcorn, kick your leg up, and just enjoy this word. Yah wants to talk with you. And as we break bread, man, put some scriptures out in the comments that you want me to expand on or read in my next video. And also, we have subscribers now. So subscribe, man. You guys hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, most importantly, and interact with me by commenting. I leave the comment box open for you guys to chit chat, talk with each other, get each other contacts, and as we are one body in Yahusha, as we are his assembly in whom he's married to, we are his body. We ought to communicate with each other and commune with each other. I want to make sure. Yeah, man. With that being said, man, let's just dig in, man. Let's just dig into it, man. I know, but we're just gonna dive right into it. All right. So to start, let me bring this a little bit lower. This is really. Yeah, to get things rolling, man, let's go to Matthew 4:4. And this teaching might be a little bit long, but it's all right. We're going to be all right. All right. Matthew 4:4 says, "But he answered and said, It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahuah," or the mouth of Elohim, Yahuah Zavaot. As you know, at this channel, we like to call Yah by his name. We like to give him honor and glory and call him by his true name, the name that he gave unto our ancestors to call him or to summon him. Because you got to understand something, that Yah is Ruach. He is spirit. So when you attempt to be in communication with him, what you are actually doing is you're summoning him. You're summoning him. He is a real person, but you have to summon him. And the way you do this is by, number one, giving praise and worshiping him. That's one way you summon Yahuah. I know that for a fact. By just giving him straightforward Ruach, or spiritual praise, by lifting him up. He says in the book of Luke, if he be lifted up, he'll draw all men unto him. So how you summon him is, how you call on him is, you worship him. You give him praise with the breath of your being, the breath in your nostril, and you will summon him. I guarantee that. I guarantee that. So here you see here that this is the word of Yahusha. He's telling you that, okay, you may worry about life, on what clothes you're going to wear, where you're going to work, because the scriptures want you to work. It says that you will not eat if you don't work. The man will live or eat by the sweat of his brows or the sweat of his forehead. right? So where are you going to work? How are you going to work? You wonder about all these things in our life and how you're going to live. But here, the Messiah is telling you something a little bit different. Yeah, he's aware that you need a job, you need a place to stay, you need clothes to put on your back, you need a car for you to move around, for you to live in this life. But he's telling you here that man shall not live by bread alone. When it comes to eating, you're not going to only live by bread, by food alone. That's not how you're going to live. The way you're going to live according to him in this life, if you are following him, if you are, a Hebrew Israelite or somebody who believes in the Hebraic Messiah, if you are a Messianic Hebrew Israelite, that you live by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Aluah, of Yahuah, of Elohim, of El Shaddai. Every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yah. So this right here tells me that I need to be very careful on what I say or what I called out, what I distinct, the words that come out of the mouth of Alua, what they are. I have to be very careful how I how I re, how not how I receive them, but how I distinct his voice, his mouth. I gotta be very, very, very accurate. You cannot be nonchalant about the words that came from his mouth. You can't. Let's go to John 1 real quick. I think there's something for us to have here at John 1. It says here, in the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Alua, and the Word was Yahuah, Elohim. The same was in the beginning with Yah, with Elohim. In the beginning was the Word, man. That was with Alua, and the Word that was Alua. And then you also have words that come out of his mouth. Words that proceedeth out of his mouth. Interesting. Very interesting. Be very careful on who you lend your ear to when it comes to them saying or them attempting to speak for Yahuah. You want to be very careful. Why? Because they are claiming to be his mouth, as we read in Matthew 4:4. They're claiming to be his mouth. Now, here in John 1:1, we see here that the Word was in the beginning. So somebody can open their mouth and say, hey, I'm speaking for Yah. But the words that are coming out of their mouth didn't proceed from the beginning. This is the reason why you need to go to the ancient paths. Quick disclaimer, we've been making 2-3 videos so far on this channel, and on this channel I've hit the nail on the head a couple of times, speaking on a few things. Some of those things are the going back to the ancient path, the Hebraic old ways, the old path. And pretty much what that means is you're going back to your ancestors, how they live, things that they did, things that they spoke, things that they acknowledge as being holy, things that they acknowledge as not being holy. You want to go back and walk there, because what you're going to find out is that all these scriptures belongs to then, to that time. Our ancestors written these scriptures. And as I was making the analogy that the prophet Yeshayahu, which is Isaiah, A lot of the prophetic things that he said, he is in some way throwing the touchdown, throwing the football to us, for us to catch. So everything, man, I'm getting goosebumps. Everything that is in the scriptures is not only the word of Yah that was there in the beginning, but is at least the prophecies that are within the pages of this book are all things that are meant for us to catch in this time. It's for us to catch it. We got to catch all the prophecies. We got to catch all the laws, the statutes and the commandments and the precepts. So we have to catch all of them. And you want to be very careful in how you catch. And that's what this sitting and this teaching is about today. It's about the words of Yahuah, the Lord, how to receive them, how to catch them, how to understand them, how to go about reading them, right? You got to also understand another thing, that certain men has designated time and attention and energy to do things to deviate those who are predestined. Listen to my words. To deter those who are predestined by influence scriptures, doing certain things, removing certain books, so that those who are predestined will find it very hard to understand and to eventually fall in line with the ancient paths. Listen to what I'm saying. You have an enemy out there who you have been eating bread, eating bread. They have set money and time and energy aside to deviate you from getting the full word of Yah. They've done this. This is inevitable. And we're going to read one script where Yahusha is sort of kind of hinting to you that there are books that you ought to read that are influenced by his Ruach, who are holy scriptures, um, that are not considered holy by Christianity. Christianity has no say-so in what is holy. They have an understanding of what they think holy is, but according to the Most High, who is holy, who is holy, he's a holy being. That's how, you know how we're human being? He is holy being. He only knows how to be holy. That's all he knows how to do. He can't be anything outside of holy. We can't do anything outside of being human. Can you do anything outside of being human? No, you can't. It's not in your nature. You won't do it. It won't feel right. You'll retract back. You will stop immediately if you realize that it's not human, right? And this goes to also doing evil things as well. There are people who you can tell that they're not human, technically speaking, that they have taken so much of the demonic spirits that they do things so evil that you'd say that's not humane. You've given it a word that is not humane, and all that is saying is they're acting out of their character. They're supposed to be human. They're doing something that is not in character, and you say, hey, they're demon possessed, right? So let's read Joshua 10 verses 13. All right. We'll be going to verses 13. It says here, and the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of the Shamaim and hasted not to go down about a whole day. So here, if I'm not mistaken, Joshua is continue leading the children of Israel into the promised land. And if I am correct, They ascended upon Gilgal. They are the bed of Gibeon said unto you, the camp of Gilgal, saying, not they are looking to fight. They are fighting the five kings of Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, and the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. So they are in the promised land, and they're fighting these kings. They're fighting these kings, right? Or these kings is at war, and they have gathered themselves against the children of Yahuah, against the Israelites, right? And at verse 13, the person who's written the book of Joshua says, and the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Joshua? Well, what you're going to find out is that the book of Joshua is not in the 66 books that, according to Christianity and according to Roman Catholicism, according to the biggest religion on this earth, Joshua is technically not considered holy. But here we find out that the book of Joshua, which is considered holy, is referring to a book that, in all our knowledge today, in present truth, it's another word you're going to be hearing a lot, present truth. See, the Black Messiah is currently present truth, whether you'd like to believe it or not. 100 years ago, no, 50 years ago, it wasn't so. It was only a white Messiah. There was only a white, there was a Christ. But present truth now says that if you were a Hebrew, you are of a color descendant, particularly a color of burnt brass or burnt bronze, right? Well, present truth has it that the book of Jasher is not considered holy according to present truth from Christianity. But here, it's referred by the book of Joshua, which is a holy book, that this same thing that had happened here is recorded and written in the book of Jasher, right? So here, the Most High is telling us that there are other books out there who have holy things recorded inside of them. I say it again. The Most High is telling you here, as part of words that are coming from his mouth, that there are other books which have holy things recorded inside of them. And that's all I really need, to be quite honest with you. That's all I really need for me to go read that book. All I need is another book that I consider holy to refer this book, Jasher, to have documents of something that had happened that is unnatural, transcending what's natural. A sun staying in the air or shining upon one place for an entire day, that has never happened before in the history of humans. One sun have not remained a full, well, here, let's say we would say 24 hours, but it could be more than that because they had been fighting for a whole day, and then they needed another day to complete things, right? So it could be a sun remaining in one place for just about 48 hours, 36 to 48 hours. That's crazy, right? Well, it's recorded in the book of Jasher, and we ought to go read the book of Jasher, right? So this is just to give you a hint that the Apocrypha, which the book of Jasher is inside of. So there's JV that was published in 1611. That one had 80 books. And so those 14 books that's supposed to be there, 14 books that's supposed to be there, they are in the Apocrypha. They label them the Apocrypha, right? So nonetheless, the Joshua is in the Apocrypha. But moving on. Let's go to Psalm 62. Go to Psalm 62. And we're going to go to verse 11. Psalm 62, verse 11 says, Yahuah, O Elohim, has spoken once, and twice have I heard this. that power belongeth unto Elohim or El Shaddai. Power belongeth unto Yahuah or Elohim, Elohim, right? Not God. We don't believe in God in, right? Not here at this channel. Remember that, guys, right? So one attribute about the words that come out of the mouth of Yahuah, the word that come out of the mouth of the Most High, one attribute about it, something that is uniformly across all of the scriptures, is that the Most High will say it one time, or you would see it if you start reading. Let's say you started reading from Genesis and you're going all the way, you're reading all the books, all the way, all of the 80 books plus and ending in Revelation, you would realize that once you've read it in its entirety, you realize that the Most High would say something one time, but it'll it'll play out about more than twice or three times, right? So um something like in the ending will happen as in the days of Noah, right? You'd realize that in the days of Noah there was an ending of an age. There was an ending of the earth. The earth was going to be flooded, right? And Yah would resemble the second ending of this earth, and he would use the term as in the days of Noah. This is scriptures, right? Meaning that certain things that had happened in the days of Noah when the earth was going to be flooded are things that will happen again in this second time around of the earth ending, and which in this time it would end by fire. So the first time it ended by water, he said that he won't destroy the earth no more by water, he will destroy it again by fire. But he says numerously, as in the days of Noah, right? Mentioned at least about 10 times or so, or a handful of times. Google is not giving me the exact number, right? I'd have to go figure that out myself, which is fine. All right. Let's move on to Job 3:33-14. Job 33:14. Job 33:14. And we're going to read verses 14. It says, "For Yah speaketh once, yeah, twice, yet man perceiveth it not." So you see here, that Yah speaks something once and it happened more than twice. It's mentioned twice. You see this though, right? So Job 33:14 says the same thing that Psalm 62:11 said. And this is how you read scriptures. This is proof of how you ought to read scriptures. You're supposed to have at least 2 to 3 scriptures speaking around one subject. And some people will call it testify. You need to testify at least 2 to 3 times that something had happened, right? Or proof that it had happened by providing 2 to 3 scriptures to speak according to something. So here I gave you 2 scriptures that said that the Most High will say something once and it'll happen twice. I gave you 2 scriptures already. Let's see if we have a third one here. I think we might have a third one or something that speak along to it. Right? And in an assembly, we call this 2 to 3 witnesses, right? Let's go to Isaiah 37. Isaiah 37. 37:26 says, "As thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it, now have I brought it to pass, that thou shouldest be to lay waste defenced cities into ruinous heaps." All right. So this is pretty much Isaiah, giving a thus says the Lord Yahuah, Elohim of Israel. He's telling this to King Hezekiah, right? So he's telling them here that they have heard it from long ago, how he's done some things, how he saved them in ancient times, and that he has formed it. And now, again, he has brought it to pass. So you would see he would say something once and it'll happen twice or three times, should I say. So it is empirical that you have 2 to 3 witnesses when you are establishing something scripturally. Okay, if you're establishing something in scriptures, you need to have 2 to 3 scriptures to back it up as witnesses to make it solid. A lot like a chair or a table. You know, a chair or table can't stand upright if it only has one leg. It can't even do it if it has 2 legs. But if it has 3 legs, well, it's going to stand. You understand? 4 legs, even better. But let's move on. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 13:1. It says, "This is the third time I am coming to you. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established." So this is something as well that you need to know about the words that proceeded from the mouth of Yahuah. That for you to establish it, there needs to be 2 or 3 witnesses. You need to have 2 to 3 um, scriptures to establish that the Most High said it. Okay, so you need to know these scriptures. 2 Corinthians 13 verses 1. Now let's go to Deuteronomy. We'll go to the Old Testament too. Deuteronomy 19:15, verse 15. "One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin, in any sin that he sinned. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established." So this, okay, I'm getting the juice back. This is just how things are established within the Hebraic community. That you can't just come up and say, "Oh, he stole my tire," or "He stole my last piece of bread," or "He stole my banana." You can't accuse somebody of something, even if it's a sin. You can't accuse them. You need to have 2 witnesses, 2 other people who've seen it, 2 to 3 other people who've seen it, and then you can pass judgment or say somebody has done something, right? You can hold them against the law, but you need 2 to 3 witnesses. See, this is all applied to the judicial system that we currently have in America. Having witnesses, gotta have witnesses, makes a case solid, right? Let's go to, okay, now we're gonna get into a little bit more. Let's go to Isaiah 28, verses 9 and 10. Isaiah 28, verses 9 and 10. It says, "Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept, listen, precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little." All right. So this is the formula on how you gather witnesses to establish that Yah has spoken. Okay. If you're dealing with somebody who do not know how to match scriptures, that he or she, or it should be only he, that he can't bring 3 scriptures that speak to what he is talking about, then you don't need to listen to them. You need to not, you need to kick the dust off your boots and keep it moving. Don't entertain these people, because a lot of people think that they're speaking. A lot of people used to say to me when I was in the church, "Oh, the Lord told me to tell you this and that." Okay, the Lord told you that. The Lord surely must have given you 2 to 3 witnesses. Where are your witnesses? You can't even have somebody else that said, "Yeah, the Lord told me this also about you." Bring 2 to 3 people, and I'll believe you. Bring scriptures. Make sure there's one scripture. So if you come tell me the Lord told you that I'm going to be rich by the age of 20, okay, so you're one witness. I need you to have another witness, and then you got to also have a scripture that said that speaks about this. 2 to 3 scriptures, right? If somebody wants to establish something with these are the ancient path. This is how you go back to the ancient path. This is how you read scriptures. This is how you understand what the Most High is trying to communicate and tell you. You can't just read it one time and hear something. No, you need to read it and have seen it over and over and over and over again. That in and of itself is a testament that the Most High is speaking with you, that He's communicating with you. And again, what is the one thing that kings do? They search out a matter. So you need to search out a matter. So if you want to find out, you know, more scriptures about something, then you need to read. You need to go search. You need to read it. You need to find it. You need to match it. You need to collect statements by 2 or 3 witnesses. Okay. So here I'm showing you. And this is how you read this. For precepts must be upon precept. It's telling you how precepts are supposed to go. Okay. And then it's telling you again, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, and then line upon line. Here a little, there a little. And to show you this, to show you a prime example of this, let's go to another scriptures that show you this analogy, this way of reading. Let's go to Psalm 119. Let's go to Psalm 119, and we're going to look at verses 104 to and 105. 104 and 105. 104 says, "Through thy precepts I get understanding. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. None. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." All right. Through thy precepts I get understanding. By putting precepts upon precepts, I get understanding. Through putting line upon line, I get understanding. By looking here a little and there a little, do I get understanding. Therefore, that's how you're going to start hating every false way. It's amazing, man. How sweet are thy words unto my taste. Yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Let's read 2 Peter 3:16. Let's go to 2 Peter 3:16. 2 Peter 3. And we'll read verse 16. It says, "As also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction." Here, Peter is pretty much talking about the situation on how people perceive Paul. Even as our brother Paul, also according to wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you. That's also all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood. Peter is telling us that the things the things that Paul talks about and how he speaks about them, they are hard to understand. And the reason why they're hard to understand is because the people who read them, who don't understand them, they are unlearned, one, and they are also unstable. You're unstable. And because of you're unlearned and unstable, because you haven't focused on finding 2 to 3 witnesses, because you haven't done that, you read the other scriptures unto your own destruction. So you then use the scriptures to lead you to destruction. Just because you don't put precept upon precept, just because you didn't put this line and match it with that line to see if it speaks the same, to see if it's something that the Most High said once and it happened twice. Just because you didn't go find something here and then go find something there and match it together and see if it's uniform. If the Most High said it once and it happened twice, or if He said it twice, or if He said it 3 times in different circumstances, you wasn't careful enough to go do that. And just because of that, you make Paul look like he don't know what he's talking about when he know what he's talking about, but you're not understanding it. Why? Because you're unlearned and you're unstable. Christianity, these pastors, these Christian pastors, they are for sure unstable. They are the most stable, unstable people I ever met. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I went to a Seminary Adventist school that the seminary of the Seven Adventists was on that campus. School called Andrews University. And man, I've watched these guys come in, flourish, leave, come in, fail, and leave. I've witnessed so many pastors come in as just a student, learn, and I've seen students from the undergrad become grad from that seminary. I've seen it all different ways, and I've seen something about these guys. They portray stability so good that they are able to get women to fall off their feet or sweep women off their feet just by attempting to read the scriptures or be holy, just by being in the seminary. They portray stability so good that they can wean women off their feet. It's amazing. And I'm on the other hand seeing right through it. I'm seeing right through it. And I used to ask the Most High all the time, why do I have this perception? Why do I have this ability to see through certain people and see through their schemes and their facades? I used to always wonder about this. But now it's clear. Now that I am not a Christian anymore, I'm not Adventist anymore, and I have a different understanding of scriptures, I can look through people who portray stability and then look at scriptures and see that they are, in fact, unlearned and unstable. Christian pastors, Christians, Christianity is a group of people, a large group of people who have come together, who are unlearned and who are unstable according to scripture. What does the church teach? That the law is done away with. And they, in fact, use Paul's scriptures. They use the book of Romans, a book that focuses on the law. They use that book to preach that the law is done away with, that you don't have to keep the 7-day Sabbath holy. You don't have to keep it holy, that it's done away with, that the Messiah has nailed it to the cross. All this. When the Messiah tells us that he didn't come to do away with the law, but to fulfill all of them, to fulfill everything. He didn't come to do away with the law. He came to fulfill it. But yet they use the book of Paul to teach that the Messiah have put an end to the law at the cross. This is crazy, bro. I'm tired, but this is still making a lot of sense. This is just crazy to me. This is very crazy to me. Yea, therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, be aware lest ye also, being led away with the error of the wicked, fall from your own steadfastness. This is crazy, man. That Yah gives us. You see, when a king gets up and goes search something, man, you get to stand from a perception that is just beautiful, where you get to see through things where the Most High just shows you everything for what it really is. And then you can make your own decision. Moving on, let's go to that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I also want to read something. Let's read Nehemiah 8. I think this is very important. It may not seem as important, but I'm sure when we get done reading, it'll be very important. Let's read the whole chapter. We're going to read the whole chapter, right? And all the people gathered themselves together as one man into the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses. And this is all. This, by the way, the children of Judah, um, of the Israelites, after they have left Babylon already, they have come back to build the gate, to pretty much rebuild the kingdom. Pretty much, they have gotten the green light. And at this time, this is past Daniel already. This is the book of Ezra. So this is Ezra picking up the baton and pretty much finish the work of rebuilding the gate of Jerusalem and rebuilding Jerusalem, and getting everything back apart. And this is not all of the children of Israel. This is just a designated, a small group. They went out in stages and in groups, and this is one of the earlier groups. I'm not sure which group this is, but this is the group that Ezra took with Nehemiah. And if you read this chapter, you get exactly what's going on here. And pretty much as they are establishing the kingdom back again, they called out unto Ezra the scribe to bring out the book of the law of Moses. So the book is lost. Technically, the book was lost while they were in captivity, but for some reason, they find it back again, right? Which Yahuah had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear with understanding upon the first day of the seventh month. So here he's bringing out the scriptures. I want you to pay attention to how the people are receiving, how receptive they are of the scriptures. I want you to pay attention to that, right? And it says here, and he read therein before the street that was before the water gate from the morning until midday. So they spent a good 12 hours or so, eight hours, 8 to 12 hours or so, anywhere between 6 and 12 hours, before the men and the women and those that could understand, and the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law. They were attentive to the book of the law. And Ezra the scribe stood upon a pulpit of wood, which they had made for the purpose. And beside him stood Mattithiah, and Shema, and Ananiah, and Uriah, and Hilkiah, and Maaseiah on his right hand, and on his left hand, Pedaiah, and Mishael, Malchiah, and Hashum, and Ashbadana, Zechariah, and Meshullam. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was above all the people, but standing on the wood. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And when he opened the book, all the people stood up. They were attentive, and they were willing to stand up all on their feet. And Ezra blessed Yahuah, the great Elohim. And all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands. They're attentive, they're standing, they stood up on their feet, and they are lifting their hands, and they bowed their heads. and worship Yahuah with their faces to the ground. I don't even think he started reading it. Did he start reading it? And he read. Okay, yeah, he read. Right? Also, Yeshua and Bani and Jerebiah, Jamin, Akub, Shabbathiah, Hodiah, Maasaiah, Azariah, Yozabad, Hanan, Pelahiah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the law. And the people stood in their place. So there are people explaining the scriptures, explaining the laws, the book of the law of Moses. And Ezra, bless Yahuah, this that man. All right, so they read in the book in the law of Elohim distinctly. They read distinctly and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading. So the people they were paying attention, they were attentive. They stood up on their feet when Ezra read. They lift up their hands, they bow their heads, and they they had people designated. They had designated people and Levites specifically with the purpose of causing the people to understand the law. And I'm done. I'm done here. They had people there designated to take a precept from that precept, that line on that line, here a little, there a little. They had people designated with the purpose of just making sure that what they are reading is understood. And this, we're talking about the law. This tells you that the law of Moses, the book of the law of Moses, Genesis, like Deuteronomy, Exodus, all these books, there is a way that you read them. There's a way that you understand that causes you to understand. And you're right. It's precepts upon precepts, line upon line, here a little, there a little, to see throughout time how the word of Yah remained steady. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a word from Yah that remained the same throughout hundreds, thousands of years. That's what you're looking for. So you can say, this is the word of Yah. Right? So they read in the book and the law distinctly, and they read distinct and caused them and gave the sense. So they had, as I like to say, they had a verdict on what is to be understood and what is to not be understood. They had a verdict. So after we read this is what this means. Why? Because this also means the same thing here and there, and with this line, upon this line, with this precept, upon this precept. That's how they understood it. Words of the law and Nehemiah, which is the third Shapha, and Ezra, the priest, the scribe, and the Levites that taught the people. The Levites taught the people. Right, said unto all the people, this day is holy unto Yahuah, your Elohim, mourn not, nor weep. For all the people wept when they heard the words of the law. Bro, the words, the scriptures, they're supposed to penetrate you every single time to where you would want to weep. So what you have here is a group of people who have been starved from bread. The bread of life. They've been starved. They haven't had scriptures. They've been in Babylon for 75 plus years, 70 plus years. They have been in Babylon. Some of them has been born there and don't even know their heritage, their culture. They've perhaps never heard of the scriptures, right? They've been in captivity. They've been sown and born in captivity into another nation. A lot like us now. And when the scriptures, particularly the words of the law, it's the words of the law that's supposed to make you weep. That's supposed to bring you to your knees. It's the laws that's supposed to do that. That's crazy, right? So here we are reading, you know, the the Gospels, the Synoptic Gospels. We're reading the bread Hadashah, and people are weeping, giving their life to the Messiah. But in reality, before it was the books of the law that was doing that. Oh snap! So that tells me that the Synoptic Gospels, all the words about the Messiah, are equivalent with the book of law. The power is the same. It's the same. Bringing you mourning and weeping, right? Then he said unto them, go your way, eat the fat and drink the sweet, and send portions unto them for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy unto Yahuah, Elohim, neither be ye sorry, for the joy of Yahuah is your strength. The joy of Yahuah is your strength. I want to give that to somebody today. I remember when I read this, when I was putting this together, this scripture right here gave me a lot of hope. And I ended up having this phrase in my mouth for like a week. It was the most beautiful thing ever. The joy of Yahuah is your strength. And that for today is the words of Yahuah, the Lord. Okay? That the joy of Yahuah, you having joy in knowing that you have the right name, to know that you're in the ancient path. You having the joy of living this set aside life, of wearing fringes, wearing garments, Hebraic garments, of keeping yourself set aside, right? Not, getting, you know, breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments, not keeping Shabbat holy, lying, murdering your brother with whether it's through your words or with a gun or whatever, breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments, and not being sober, stuff like that. That the joy of living in that life is my strength. Here we find out that joy can become strength. Having joy in Yahuwah is your strength. So the Levites stilled all the people, saying, hold your peace, for the day is holy, neither be ye grieved. And all the people went their way to eat and drink and to send portions and to make great mirth, because they had understood the words that were declared unto them. Understanding, it's a beautiful thing, period. All right, boom. I think we'll wrap it up there. I'm going to say thank you for coming in and watching with a brother. I'm really hoping that all this is clear, came through, and that you can hear me. We're here at an hour. Beautiful scriptures here, man. You see the title, "The Words of Yahuah, the Lord." Okay, Yahuah means the Lord. Um, I pray that that you are blessed and that you stay strong in Yahuah. Should I say, stay strong in Yahuah and be blessed. All right, see you guys later, man. Have a good one.